Greetings, everyone, and welcome to Anime Night in the Dojo. Today's featured show, Slime, Season 4.
Yep, Slime, Season 4, Episode 7. Welcome back to the Dojo. I'm Ryu. That's Age. We're back for more Anime Night in the Dojo. And, well, last time we had Shuna doing hand-to-hand combat with her fans, very Momoji style. But once again, she learned from Hakuro and over that last time. So they need to rehash why that was a thing. But we got left on the cliffhanger of Soe. How into words? He was confronting Glenda. I knew it was something with a G because we looked it up. I knew it was kind of like an older school. And it'll be interesting to see what happens with her because of everything we talked about last time. Her connection to the Rotsos, obviously they're the ones who summoned her. So we'll have to see what the deal is with that. And, the continued madness that is what's happening. And for the people who are not a fan of meetings, hopefully there'll be a break in the meetings. But I think we got through the majority of the meeting shenanigans last time. So we should be able to get some kind of something else this time. Some kind of something else. As I'm sure. Looking at the release schedule of Slime, I just checked to reconfirm it. This will be the last week we're doing Slime on twice, because the most recent dubbed episode, which was 9, came out literally yesterday. So sometimes these shows have random weeks off and stuff like that, so we kind of like to have that extra week buffer on shows that aren't legit simulcast, like what ReZero is doing, like dub and sub at the same time. Slime is usually at 2 weeks in between the sub, because the sub is on 11 and the dub is on 9 now, so I don't want to risk missing a week like that and just kind of be beholden to a thing unless we run up against it inadvertently, you know what I mean? So we always want to have that extra week buffer zone just in case, so that we don't have a weird just dip in our schedule and stuff like that. So this will be the last week for 2, so this will be the last Slime we do on Friday. So yeah, it'll just be we have to do the MHA final episode that they did, the More episode. That'll probably come out next Friday, and then after that we might have just random nonsense, or just nothing on Friday until the summer stuff starts in a couple weeks here at this point. You know what I mean? So there would be only a missing Friday slot for a couple weeks, and then Slime will just continue on Monday for the rest of it.
For the rest of time.
Yeah, for the rest of time. For the rest of half the series here. So yeah, this will be the last week we do 2, and then Slime will just be 1 episode a week as per usual scheduling on Mondays. So this will be the last Slime for Friday. But that being said, yeah, not really a huge amount more going to this. Going to continue the confrontation with Soe and Glenda, and then see what happens with that. And yeah, so we already know that Soe was more than capable of handling one of the other rooks and stuff like that. So, her ability probably isn't really going to save her, especially with now that Soe knows what the deal is with it, especially. So, this is kind of like a non-fight situation.
Yeah, really the only reason why she got one over on him with the noble guy was just because he didn't know what the hell was going on. But now he knows what the hell's going on, because, he knows what a gun is now, and he just got a freaking step-by-step example of how her power works.
Yeah.
But yeah, I imagine Glenda failing and the king stepping in, like I said last week, are probably going to be the things that have to actually throw a wrench in Maribel's plan and are potentially going to cause things to escalate here.
Right. So, anyway, just keep in mind all the other stuff that we've talked about so far, and, see what happens. So, we're going to push some buttons and get going here, so people on Patreon will see you on the other side of the edit for the timer reaction, and people on YouTube Beyond will see you on the other side for the discussion and review, and all the links are down there in the description straight to the timer reaction if you want to check that out over on Patreon. All completely free, just, have to moved around because YouTube is stupid. And I'm not afraid to say it, because I'm sick of their shit. I think a lot of people are sick of their shit. A lot of people are sick of most platform shit. we really need people to simplify shit. But that's impossible. You know, we got the Crunchyroll CEO over here trying to get people in Japan to write stuff that's based in India. Why don't you get people in India to write stuff that's based in India?
And you have freaking companies trying to sue Steam for freaking their 30% cut being monopolizing, when 30% cut is the average.
Yeah, so I got nothing for any of that. All I know is Power World beat Nintendo again, and it's friggin' hilarious. So all that stuff aside, we're gonna get going on Slime here. So yeah, see you guys on the other side of whatever edit you're watching. So here goes something. Well, there you guys have it. Another one's in the books, and well, we had the first rule of Tempest being not to piss off Shuna. The first rule of Soe is finding the correct Soe.
Yeah, rule 1 of fighting Soe, find the correct Soe. Rule number 2 of fighting Soe, you found the wrong Soe.
Yeah. We already know his body double is a very impressive skill in of it itself, but as he's evolved, I'm sure, you know, he can swap locations, you know what I mean? That kind of thing, the atypical kind of thing when it comes to, like, shadow clones and stuff like that, spatial manipulation, shadow movement, all those kinds of things. So
yeah, we know Soe is, like, absurdly good at it. Like, the whole, like, creating the body doubles is just a general skill that, like, anyone can learn. Like, Rimuru knows it as well. But, like, he has a hard time even just maintaining one. Like, it took him a while to even just get used to that in the whole, like, story arc dealing with the frickin' southwestern nation on the border of the dunes. Right.
So, another fairly classic Soe fight. You know, he's still a fan of using his arcane threads, that kind of thing. I'm sure the creepy old people bondage sex police were all over him for what he did to Glenda. Archer would have something to say about that whole situation, but you know, that was what it was. It was a pretty interesting sequence. A lot more. I didn't think Slime would give ReZero a run for its money, and its you know, brutal nature of that one body double's death. That was pretty savage.
Yeah, she apparently also killed 2 more off screen.
Yeah. So that is something. So that is her ability is quite impressive for what it is. But as for the rest of this, you know, they had their post whatever meeting. Benimaru is still, you know, very nonchalant about lighting an entire room of people on fire with Hellflame, or whatever it's now called, you know, Superior Ultra Mega Hellflame. And he's having a second parfait of the day, so this man needs to be stopped. I can't believe the bartender didn't cut him off. What are you doing? The calorie intake is insane. Who do you think you are, Michael Phelps? Can you believe this guy? But yeah, in all seriousness, the whole him being just like super casual about lighting rooms on fire is just kind of like a running gag for him, and always giving him shit for, like, you can't be just this casual about this. What's wrong with you? I know that was your serious face. It's like, well, yeah, I was being deadly serious. So all those kinds of things are great to keep those character traits going. So you gotta appreciate that for what it is. But the rest of it was just honestly the interrogation of Glenda and Rimuru once again just being who he is, breaking the curse on Glenda is pretty adjacent to what he did for the kids, I'm sure. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's already thoroughly studied summoned individuals, because that was the whole thing of, like, he spent months studying the kids, trying to figure out a way to stabilize their condition, so he's already very versed in the physiology of some netherworlders.
Yeah. So, breaking this curse is probably not that big of a deal for him at this point, based on everything, especially since, I'm pretty sure saving the kids was before he ascended to be a demon lord. I forgot the exact timeline of that. Or was it after? Was it right after that happened? I know that was at the end of season 2. Or one, no, season 1. And
it
then
was just before Hinata first attacks him.
Yeah.
Which would be
because he was leaving Ingracia. He was leaving Ingracia after he saves the kids, and then Hinata attacks him, and then he goes home to the debacle, and then that's when Eren shows up and tells him about the Demon Lord lore thing.
Yeah, because the whole thing is Hinata attempts to assassinate him right at the same time the Tempest gets attacked.
Yeah.
So when he comes back from the Hinata assassination, that's when he fights everyone dead and decides to commit to the Demon Lord thing.
Yeah, so this is even before Raphael, so Raphael probably has something to do with this as well. So, everybody's been upgraded since then, so probably not that big of a deal. We talked about it a little bit during the reaction there too. This was technically established by Leon with the leash that they talked about with Shizu. You know what I mean? So we kind of knew about the summons being tied to the summoner and whatnot, and then the kids' problem was the summoners weren't satisfied with the summon, so they break basically the tie to them, the tether, the link to them, but in doing so puts them on a expedited death because they don't have anything linking them to this world, so their magicules just kind of run out of control and eventually they explode. So that was the whole thing with embedding the spirits into their bodies, was to give them a tether to the world again and just kind of allow them to exist and not die when they were 12.
Yeah, because the whole thing is they were illegal summons by random countries who were trying to summon netherworlders as super weapons, but they got kids instead and just discarded them immediately.
Right. And now that we know that, I know for a while there when we were watching this, I was speculating, how many other countries are out here? Because we've seen the map. There's not a lot of them. And as time went on, it's then we know about the Elven nation that's over there. We know about Arizania. They probably weren't doing it. The Elven nation wasn't doing it. But now that we know about the HRE, you know what I mean? It's how many of these fuckers are out here? They're literally like bees. So that map needs to be updated. All the nations that are part of the council are probably just seen as one blob on a map. You know what I mean? This is the council. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the Western nations are all just kind of one big chunk on the map, and then it's up in the top left of them is freaking the Belios. Far north is the elves, and it's Dwargon. Down there, there's the freaking, I can never remember the name, the Dune nation, and then Tempest is the far east.
Yeah. So either way, all that stuff has been established, and that was just kind of interesting. That keeping with Ryumaru's thing of I'm just gonna help you. I don't care. You know what I mean? And that's kind of Mary Bell's failing in the other part of this episode is she firmly believes that Rimuru is just gonna be we're his Rimuru. She thinks Rimuru's playing the long con of, we want to look like we're helpful, and then eventually once we're in, we're just going to have to cater to them because they have all the power. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Once again, she's a former shadow government member. She's used to everyone around her playing the long con, including her.
Right.
So she sees Rimuru and immediately assumes seeing as he's a big world leader, immediately assumes he's also playing long con. But no, he's just a middle manager who wants a peaceful life.
Yep. So, sometimes you just kind of need to meet the person for real and kind of talk it out and, get an actual feel on the person before you decide what you're going to do with or against them. You know what I mean? It's kind of like those meetings that like leaders of armies have back in the day, where like a general would go meet the other general, or what have you. A king would meet another king, that kind of thing. But
back in the day, most generals and rulers and everything like that knew each other on a freaking, at very least, a last name basis, if not a first name basis.
yeah.
It's actually been a handful of like jokes I've seen a bunch of people make about like old school fights where it's basically just like two cousins taking armies to each other, getting nowhere, and then just like everyone else is dead, but it's just the two of them sitting there like, same time next year?
Yeah, pretty much. It's like, yeah, we should do this again sometime. we should get a bunch more peasants killed. We don't need those guys, right? So, yeah, it's unfortunate, but you can't really blame her. I mean, look who she is. Or look who she was. Still is. Obviously, she has all of her memories. That's why she's doing this. But look who she was in her past life. You know what I mean? I mean, come on. So you could like make that argument as a fictional character having that kind of like same mentality as somebody similar to her, but we got her entire backstory. She pretty much was one of the shadow people of like the world wars in that reality. You know what I mean? Or what were the world?
Yeah, she was the freaking. She was one of the shadow government world leaders, starting in like the late 1800s and throughout the 1900s, including at least one of the world wars. Just once again, we still don't know if their world had one or two.
Right. So, yeah, it is kind of a bummer from that side of it, but again, that is what it is. I don't know if they'll actually ever meet in person, but at the end of the day, we'll just have to see what comes of that. The other two things that are very interesting about this episode was Rimuru's analysis skill, being able to just openly say, yeah, it was Maribel Rozo who put this on you. It's like, doesn't even know who she is, and it's just like, yeah, this curse is because of her. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. So that's a really in-depth analysis of Analyze. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah. So like Raphael, during this whole like conversation, spelled it out in that like a person's unique skill is unique to them and is basically like a signature of their soul. So yeah. by analyzing enough people who had been affected by Maribel's ability, she eventually just pinned it down to, yes, this is specifically Maribel.
Right.
She essentially just got enough of she figured out enough of the signature to be able to pinpoint exactly, it's exactly this person. I can recognize their soul.
Yeah. So that is pretty damn impressive across the board for that. And then the second thing, once again, she pointed out the whole Yuki connection with Glenda mentioning Yuki again. If there's anybody that's playing the long con, it's freaking Yuki. You know what I mean? Maribel's looking at the wrong freaking guy. But she doesn't know that. She might not be aware that multiple people can have greed and that greater greed can potentially override her greed, that kind of thing. Based on everything that we've got of Yuki, he wants to shape this world the way he wants. He wants to rule this world. That was the whole thing he had with the Harlequins and Clayman and stuff like that. That's what they were trying to do. They wanted to have fun ruling this world. That was their thing. So if his greed's stronger, which I believe it is, he's just kind of, being the puppet on the string, but not really. You know what I mean? He's just making it seem like she has him under control when he doesn't. Or she doesn't have him under control.
Yeah, no, I imagine, like I said towards the end of the discussion, of the reaction, that since Maribel's direct involvement herself, it's relatively recent, the last couple of years. Lorenzo's has mostly just been the grandpa this whole time. Her influence over him is also probably fairly recent. And that this is mostly just a calculated thing by him. Reamer's suspecting me. So I'm going to embed myself with Maribel. Because I already have ties to the Rodzos through the grandfather. And make this just seem like, well, Maribel's been controlling me this whole time. I'm not actually a bad guy. I'm not working with the Harlequins. I'm not your enemy, Rimuru. I've just been being indoctrinated by Maribel.
Right. So it's definitely an interesting situation for what it is. But yeah, it will be something to see going forward. Like now that Glenda is free, like what happens with her, that kind of thing. Because as per seems like everybody, I mean, that's pretty bog standard. You know, like somebody saves your life, you want to do whatever that, you know, you can to help them. You know what I mean? It's pretty atypical. That's nothing new or exciting. And most people would probably feel that way. It's like, okay, you saved my life or freed me or whatever. What can I do to help you? Because, you know, if it wasn't for you, I'd be still in my shitty situation. So.
Yeah, she got summoned here against her will by the Roadsos and has just been stuck doing their dirty work this whole time and not able to do anything about it because of the friggin' tether of being a summon.
Right.
And now Rimuru is finally giving her like the first opportunity to actually choose for herself, and she says she wants to serve him.
Right. Which he keeps being baffled by this, and it's just like, come on, man. You had to have played enough random games and read enough manga to not to understand this trope, right? That's his whole thing. He was a big gaming and anime and manga nerd. So how does he not know this freaking trope?
But from what we saw, the main thing he played was like dating sims and stuff like that. But yeah,
I suppose. Still though, that kind of crap is in dating sims. You rescue the girl and then she wants to be with you. Same thing. You know what I mean? It's similar concept. But either way, it was fine. You know, got some interesting little action sequence there. You know, very brutal Soe body double death. Didn't see that one coming, but that was what it was. And then, well, like I said during the reaction, Rimuru did the classic middle manager pose of turning the freaking chair around and sitting in it all cool 90s guy style. So you gotta appreciate that freaking callback. Just random bullshit shout out to old school shenanigans like that. I don't even think I've seen anybody sit in a chair like that in a while, so that was kind of a throwback.
Oh, the other thing that came up on this episode, though, was Linda mentioning, you know, that freaking the grandfather's still alive.
Yeah. We
were speculating on how he was preserving his life, and like we commented about he might be a vampire or whatever. We'd already actually seen, it was shown again in this episode, but we'd already actually seen his body jumping.
Yeah.
So it's probably that's just a different body, and he just keeps jumping his soul around like ramen.
Right. So we do know that the guy that the cardinal guy that like was super close to Hinata, I forget his name, Tobias or whatever the heck his name was, that he assassinated the last 7 Days clergy member. Granville was in that body when it happened, and he just kind of was like,
yeah,
well, that was something that happened, and then just came back to his whatever this body is, you know what I mean? So that's the whole thing of why Hinata is convinced that he's dead, is because that was him and he died there. Yeah.
But she didn't know about the fact that he has the body jumping ability, which we saw at the time.
Yeah.
But just it's been a while and we hadn't been reminded about it, and just didn't have the context at the time to assume that he was preserving his life with that, outside of just, not being killed in that one situation.
Yeah. So either way, another reasonable episode for what it was. There's some comedy in there. Gotta appreciate that as well. But once again, I'm firmly in the boat of there ain't no way Yuki is actually freaking controlled.
Yeah.
Especially with the extra knowledge that I have of his character from like external canon stuff, like the game and whatnot. No. You know what I mean? From the anime only perspective, you could kind of look at it and go, well, maybe, but I'm definitely more in the boat of no, because he is way too headstrong. You know what I mean? I think he is. He even like when he's first shown like in the other canon source material, that isn't like the actual like the manga. He is just one of those guys You know what I mean? That's just like, nah, I'm gonna rule this world. I'm doing this. You know?
Yeah, no. Now knowing that the whole thing of like multiple people can have the same sin power. Well, they can have this. They can be like have powers of the same sin, but it's not necessarily has to be the same power. I'm fairly certain you're probably right. It's just he's also got a greed power. It's either greed or envy.
Right. So either way, it was all right. I'm sure we'll be building towards something with the dragon thing, obviously, that we mentioned before. Obviously, that's definitely William's old sibling dragon thing, so that'll be an issue, I'm sure. But yeah, I don't know if just like these first, like, say 12 episodes are like this first core here of this is like one storyline, or if it's a 2-core storyline or whatnot. We'll just have to see. Since this is only episode 7, I mean, we very well could be done with the Mary Bell stuff by the end of this core. I don't know. I don't know if it would take another 18 episodes to get through what this seems to be building up to. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's all I got for this one.
Yeah, Maribel's, at least her first attempt here, has been trumped, but we know she still has the dragon in her back pocket. We still have no clue what Yuki or her grandfather or anything like that are planning.
Yep. Nope. Alrighty then, ladies and gentlemen, people of YouTube, beyond whoever you're watching, as always, we appreciate you stopping by and hanging with us here in the dojo for more Anime Night in the Dojo. This was Slime, Season 4, Episode 7. Once again, this is going to be the last Slime on Friday because of how the scheduling works out, and we'll be pretty much caught up to the dub when we do Episode 9 next week. We could do 9 and 10 next week, but then we'd be staring at Friday going, we're going to have the dub ready for the, you know what I mean? So I always like to have that 1 week buffer just in case something happens, as opposed to just kind of staring at it like, is the dub going to actually release? Because, you never know what could happen with dub releases and stuff like that. So I'd rather just have that extra week, just, whatnot. So
yeah, and then it does get delayed, and then we do get stuck staring at it afterwards.
Yeah, then we get stuck staring at it afterwards. So, I'd rather have that extra week of just in case. So anyway, everybody have a good morning, evening, afternoon, whatever it is for you. Have a good one. We'll see you next time.
Hey everyone, Victoria here. If you enjoyed the video, please consider pushing those like and subscribe buttons. Your support is greatly appreciated. Thanks again for your time, and we hope to see you again in the future.